Hi everyone, welcome to another Schoolscape online webinar. The purpose of these webinars is to help take your school online, and we also focus in on products that you're also going to be able to use when your school goes back. So really excited today. I've got Wesley Lynch from Snapplify, and I think they've got an absolutely incredible offering, and it's free at the moment. So Wesley, welcome. It's great to have you with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Brilliant. So, Wesley, I'm going to jump in with quite a big question, and then we're going to get the ball rolling. So, in your opinion, how has the South African education sector responded to the COVID outbreak?
Well, I mean, I suppose that is the big question. I suppose if we think about it just philosophically, I'd say mostly very well. You know, it's a big challenge, and you know, it's not as if I think we're have perhaps a weaker or less structured approach to other countries. I think it's been challenging for everyone. Certainly, there are schools that have had challenging environments before COVID, and I think they've been the worst hit, and it's definitely still challenges we need to overcome. But I think I've been incredibly positive and optimistic in seeing how well people have risen to the challenges. There hasn't been this attitude of there's insurmountable challenges or even throwing arms up in the air. And it's a real testament to, I think, the quality of teachers. Teachers have been forced to adapt and change to things. And it's that whole thing, I suppose, necessity is the mother of invention. They've been forced to go down there, and for the most part, I've seen the change management from the teachers and the students has been incredibly positive.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think teachers have been phenomenal at how they have adapted and changed to the situation. I'm going to ask you another question, maybe just in line with the teachers. What are the struggles? What are the challenges that the teachers are facing? And just before you answer that, sorry, for all of our live viewers, thanks for everyone for saying hello. On your right, you'll see a chat bar, so you can chat there. You'll also see on your right at the top, there's a tab that says questions. So if you have any questions for Wesley, please pop them in there. What we will do is we'll talk and we'll build in those questions, and also at the end we'll make sure there is some time available to actually dive into those questions. So Wesley, back to you. Before we actually start talking your product, what are the struggles? What are the challenges that schools and teachers are facing at the moment?
I mean, obviously the challenges are very, very broad. Most of what we have visibility on, and I think have experience, is really around the technology-related challenges. So depending on the technology maturity of the schools, there's quite a wide range of challenges that we're facing. So if we perhaps look at, I suppose, a school that's got moderate technology integration, probably what the biggest challenges they have is access to bandwidth, and how varied it is. Perhaps the inconsistencies between the experience between some learner that happens to be on a parent's mobile connection with limited internet, and then a learner that is at home with a high-speed internet. It's now this huge range of inconsistencies, and how do they provide methodologies and a more uniform experience across that range. The same applies even to teachers. There are some teachers where the expectations on them to deliver whatever the technology integrated strategy is for say the classroom environment. Some teachers are sitting on fiber, others are again sitting on 3G, others may not even have a suitable device. So it's that range of inconsistencies in experience, which is a real challenge. Learners hopping from one class to another, where the experience and the modes are very, very different, is of course a huge challenge. And then access to content and how they disseminate that, I think is a big problem. And then I think some of the challenges, particularly in more mature schools, has been around IT administration. I think that a lot of the infrastructure has been so locked to IT admins, expectations that devices will be on premises, and, quite I suppose, a controlling and locked down type IT infrastructure. That now that, you could kind of function when these devices were used as like, supplementary activities, but now they're so core to it. We're still sitting with issues where, teachers don't have admin rights to install software on their own laptops, which, those things are hopefully these it's important to have some administration measures, of course, but, these draconian policies are causing huge frustrations for teachers, even when they are well equipped.
I think you've highlighted some biggies: connectivity, IT management, and contents and resources availability to it. And I think this is where I want to flip into what Snapplify does. So we've got all of these issues, we've got all of these concerns. It's tough out there, to be honest. How can Snapplify help? What do you guys have?
So, ultimately, we've been providing content and technology integration platforms to school for a number of years, and we've learned some lessons along the way, working with some early adopters and key schools. And I think what we've seen now is some schools that were perhaps on the fence or maybe even a little bit nervous now being driven towards platforms and the use of digital content. So we've seen this massive surge in adoption. And with that, we felt that, a lot of businesses are putting forward special offers. So one of the things we did was, we've always had this free tier, but we've now made the enterprise tier, which is the premium offering, free for the rest of the year. So that really helps schools on board. And then we worked, negotiated and worked very closely with a lot of the South African publishers. And they've been incredibly generous and brave, and made a number of textbooks, which is the core curriculum textbooks from the big players. I won't mention the publishers by name because I'm sure I'll leave someone out, and that wouldn't be fair. But it's the textbooks that teachers are familiar and comfortable with. So that sort of helps the transition. We're not saying go from switch from print to digital and change your content at the same time. And obviously the learners are also familiar with it. So, there's a massive amount of really premium textbooks made available for, teachers, parents, and learners for the rest of the year. And there is also a large amount of video and other interactive content that is available also, which, we encourage teachers to go and look at. So that really, I think, massively improves not only the content that is available, but now you can kind of try to do some of the similar things you would have done, with your print textbooks now digitally.
Cool. So, Wesley, maybe let me also just to dive in. If someone's coming from a view that they don't have a clue what Snapplify is, can you conceptually just explain what the offering is, what the product looks like, how it works? Just give the basics of it. So if anyone doesn't know, just to give them a bit of an idea.
So there's a couple of different components to it, which does make it somewhat complicated. But I think if you leave with one, I suppose, nugget is to go and say that you can read your textbooks on the platform. So you go to snapplify.com. You can access the free textbooks there, and you read them in an application. So that would be a mobile app. And obviously you can download it and read it on your desktop also, so any device. Once you've downloaded the book, you don't need internet connection or anything like that again. And that'll allow you to have essentially a virtual bookshelf with your books on. You get to click on those books after you've downloaded them, page through them, read them, add notes and highlights, use them for your study purposes, as you would use a traditional textbook, but now digitally on your device.
Wow. So literally, if a teacher is there, he or she can download it onto their device and then get their kids also to download it. And the kids can do it whenever they have Wi-Fi and then have it offline. Is that correct?
Absolutely, that's it. Perfect. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Also, I just want to say, well done. You know, I think a lot of companies have said, cool, we're going to make stuff available for a couple of months. I think, I don't know what the right word is, that you've made it available to the end of the year. So I just, I suppose from all of us, a big thank you. We appreciate that. That's a big call to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, and big thanks to the publishers. You know, I think there was a number of interventions out there, and we felt quite strongly that we didn't want to take something to market that was, you know, seemed maybe slightly insincere or less authentic. You know, if we're giving a book out to a learner or a teacher and it's not going to, you know, be available for the whole of the academic year, we felt that wasn't good, really. And I know there's other offerings in other businesses that maybe, you know, cannot deliver that. So, you know, we understand it's not an indictment of, you know, any other offering in the market. But I think what was important for us was not to, this wasn't a lockdown issue. You know, if someone's a lockdown and they can access their books and then post-lockdown, that book is no longer available, we think that really undermines the position. So our perspective was always that, you know, if we're going to intervene, it's going to be something that is available for the academic year. You know, it was difficult to get some publishers around it. Admittedly, some of them were nervous. But for the most part, you know, they shared our sentiments and our sincerity and came to the party.
That's amazing. Wesley, we've got a lot of teachers watching in at the moment. So I think maybe if you could just explain, maybe run through an example would make it the simplest. I am a maths teacher, grade 10. I'm not using your platform at the moment. Snapplify, my learners aren't. How would I use it? How would I incorporate it into my teaching?
So, I mean, you know, I think as a start, you know, it depends how comfortable you are with the you know, the technology. I mean, the very first step is to, I suppose, get a book yourself. You know, so if you go to snapplify.com, like I said, the books are free. Download it, get that on your application, so you're comfortable doing the you know, digital reading yourself. That's the first step. And then, you know, you can share a link to a book, you know, if you're using Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, even WhatsApp, sending those books around that learners can download. That's kind of the first phase. The second part is integrated more closely with your school and, you know, the rest of the classroom. And that would be using a tool that we call Engage. So that would be going from snapplify.com. You can find your way there, and I'm sure we can post some links, but engage.snapplify.com, and you can register your school, and that's where you'll have your own school environment where you then, you know, import your learners. You can create resource packs, allocate books. So that's moving towards a more structured, formal environment. But step one is just, you know, getting yourself up and running. And then, you know, we have a really, you know, a really helpful support team. There's guys there, a lot of ex-teachers also available to integrate. So you can always reach out to the support team. There's, you know, live chat and the support email address. And, you know, the guys are there to talk you through it.
Okay. So Wesley, I'm correct in saying that as a teacher, firstly, download the app, look for the textbooks I normally use or find those ones, get used to it. I can then literally WhatsApp or on Google Classroom tell my learners, listen, we're using this textbook, download it here. And then if I want to get more comprehensive, that's when I move onto your Engage platform. So am I correct in saying Engage then becomes something that I can actually engage with my students on and share pages, or how does that engagement work on Engage?
So Engage offers you know, a number of other types of content beyond the textbooks. What's also available there is a digital library. So you can have you know, much the same as you might have a school library where a learner can go and access books. So that could be you know, media. Like, for instance, we've got loads of free content. We've got past exam papers, but you can also go and buy paid for titles and have them available in the library. That's things like maybe Hunger Games. We've got the full For Dummies range, and then learners can loan those books as they would from a library. I mean, all digital again, so from home they can access those titles, and it's really there to encourage research and I think leisure reading. Teachers can also upload their own resources. So you've kind of got those three different modes of content. You've got the library and leisure reading. You've got your curriculum-focused textbooks, and then supplementary resources that are from the institution and teachers. And all of that you can allocate and assign out to the learners based on their requirements, whether it's grade or subject.
Brilliant. That's actually amazing. So Wesley, Snapplify, the app is free. Is Engage also free?
Engage is also free. I mean, basically, the only thing you're going to pay for is if there's content that you purchase, and that content is not free from the publisher. So there's a wealth of free content, and I think you can use Engage free and the free content, and get really, really far and do some great things. And we've worked with a number of different providers to make additional content that normally would be paid for available specifically for teachers. So Answer Series, for example, has joined our teacher benefits program and made Answer Series content available for free to all the teachers. So we're continuously growing what is available for free. And it's important, it's premium paid for content that is made available for free on the platform, not freely available resources that you can go and download on the internet. And there's some good free content out there, but time has been taken to align this content with the curriculum and localize it for South Africa. So you can get pretty far.
That's cool.
And then just one other thing, I mean, obviously, even the more enterprise features around technical aspects around integration, such as Google and Active Directory integration, those traditionally would be on our paid for tier. Those are also free now for the rest of the year also. Wow. So, yeah.
Cool. I think that would be very relevant for the IT managers. If there are any listening in, they might want to jump on that. Wesley, we've had quite a few questions come in on the free content. So I'm just going to start with the first one. It literally says, so from Robert, he is presently on your website, battling to find out where to join so I can access the free textbooks. So where do they go? Your website?
If you go to Snapplify, snapplify.com, on there at the very top, there's a banner that will direct you. It actually says, COVID-19 free textbooks. If you click on there, you'll go to the free access page. And then, on the bottom right is the chatbot there that the support guys are. And so if you're stuck with anything, how to access the book, or you're even looking for a particular book, ask the chatbot, and the guys will definitely help you out.
Okay. What I'm also going to do is I'm just going to paste here in our chat functionality just the links for the support. So there's a email link and a web address. Next question, I think that's answered that one. It's Lorraine asks, hi Wesley, do all the textbooks come with a teacher's guide, which includes memos for tasks, etc.?
So most of the publishers will produce a guide of some kind. A lot of the content, obviously, we're providing, we don't make the content. So typically, if there is a teacher's guide for the print textbook that you're familiar with, that teacher guide will also be available. So if, for instance, you do come across a textbook and there isn't a teacher guide, then raise it with us and we can let you know. Either the publisher doesn't produce one. In most cases, there is a teacher guide. But I think in obviously the haste for a number of publishers to make their content available for free, it might be the case that a publisher, here or there with one title has made the textbook available and not the guide. And then there are some obviously concerns around making guides and answers available for free, and learners having a broader access to that. So there are some policies and controls around that. But obviously, if you're a teacher and you need that resource, again, reach out to this support team, and we can certainly help you in accessing any of those guides.
Brilliant. Thanks, Wesley. Next question from Renee, and I think this will be a popular question. Is it suitable for Afrikaans schools?
Absolutely. There's loads of Afrikaans content. And I think what's probably important also to mention, alongside the free content that we have in free access, there's also been a huge amount of free content made available to teachers on the teacher website, particularly at teachingresources.co.za. So teacher is part of the broader Snapplify family. And there's free content there, but also a lot of the teachers that are making content for the local market have come to the party, much like the publishers, and discounted their content substantially. And there's a huge amount of Afrikaans content there that is, we know, is very popular as part of the whole Onis community. So definitely check that out.
Awesome. Thank you. A question coming in from Estelle, and I'm going to take this question a little bit wider. It says, does the teacher and learner need to download, or can the teacher share the download with the learner? And maybe just part of that, Wesley, if you could just explain with that, if you are using the Engage platform, how does that work with sending content and information to the learners?
Okay, sure. So everything, the way in which you essentially read and access any content is all through the app. So the every learner will download the application, and that application houses all the content, and then they will download the content themselves. So if a teacher is sitting at home giving a lesson and the learner is also at home, they would each download their own copy of the content. And remember, we're talking about books, but the same applies to audio and video. Once they've downloaded that, they only download it once. It's available and stored locally on their device, so it doesn't consume any more bandwidth. They can read it, and if it's a video, watch it as much as they want. And how it works is through Engage, you can associate, or I suppose allocate, content to particular learners or groups. So if you would like to say, here's a piece of content and I'd like this available to all grade 8 geography students, then there'll be a group set up for that. You allocate that. That piece of content will then be available and essentially pop up on the digital bookshelf of the learner, and they'll see that in their app. In most cases, it's set to automatically download, so they'll just get a little notification that teachers essentially push them a new piece of content. It'll start downloading, and then they access it and read it whenever they want, really.
Cool. Awesome. Wesley, just on Engage, can a teacher use it, or is it something the whole school has to sign up for?
I think it really comes down to what your approach is. Essentially, what we're doing is providing tools to the market, and they can largely decide how they want to use it based on their preference. Obviously, some schools are further along and they're, got the whole school integrated. Sometimes there's early adopters where, there's 1 or 2 grades, 1 or 2 subjects. Maybe they use it just for the teachers. I think what we'd really like to see is for people to start. We're in the business and believe in the IT, but by no means think that it's a silver bullet or anything. We don't trivialize the pain that some schools will go through, and it's every school is different. It's what pace they would move. So I think if you're a teacher and you're using Engage and it's just you and no one else, it's going to be a lonely, long, hard slog. I think you've got to find other teachers and try and get the full institution behind you and for things to be adopted. I mean, that's when you're going to get the real value out of it. But if there's teachers that are using it to access purely teacher benefits in the free content, there's some value in that. I think, and it demystifies things, and it's that small little stepping stone. I'd like to believe it's, the first step of a much longer journey. But it's not all or nothing. Start small with whatever you're comfortable with.
Brilliant. Thanks, Wesley. Wesley, a couple of questions. People that are already using the app, so they are not going to the website, but they have the app. How do they find the free textbooks and the free resources?
So you've got to think about the app essentially is for you to read the content, and it works much the same as other ebook experiences. Even Amazon works the same. So the app is just about reading. If you go to the website and again follow the free access path, if you've got an existing Snapplify account, then you can sign in with that account. And if you're using Google or Microsoft, you can create an account using those details, which we encourage, particularly if your school is using Google or Microsoft authentication. And the moment you see a book and there's a button there that says add to library, it will automatically push it out to the application that you already have installed. So the important bit is that the user that you're using to sign in with on the application and the user you are using to sign in on the website are the same. So it's much the same. If you've got, you're going to Gmail to access your email, you need to use the same password that you would sign into your application on your phone. So it works exactly the same. So you need one Snapplify account that you're signed in with on the application to read. And then when you go to any Snapplify environment, whether it's free access or Engage online, you use the same account, and then they'll all be synchronized together.
Cool. Awesome. Wesley, is there a list somewhere where someone can just scroll through and see all the free content, or do they need to go in and search and see? Because I'm guessing some textbooks are free, some are not within the system.
On the free access, if you're at snapplify.com/free access, it's only the free ones. So, we've not made it, it's completely separate from our store. If you find your way onto the store and you're seeing prices, then, that's not the right place. So we haven't buried all the free good stuff that people are looking for in amongst the rest of the shop. Like the strategy is not to try and get you to go to the store and hopefully buy some other stuff or whatever. Everything that's there on the free access page is free, and you can scroll through there. There are thousands of titles, so one long page isn't really practical, but you can filter there by curriculum, grade, subject, and again, if there's something that you're looking for in particular, ask the chatbot, and try and follow on social media, because there are publishers that are joining up literally every day. So you might find that there's a textbook that you went looking for today and you didn't find it, and tomorrow it is there now because it's been added. So as new publishers are joining, we are putting the word out, but it's good to check back.
Do you know offhand, because we're getting a couple of questions on Platinum and Maskew Miller, do you know offhand if their resources are available and free?
So I know a lot of the Platinum books have not been made available. Obviously we'll continue to work quite closely with Pearson to see what we can do. If anyone's looking for those titles in particular, I think send us an email and we'll be sure to pass on your heartfelt message to the publisher.
Apply some good pressure for them to make it free. I like.
is what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are sadly coming to a close. We want to keep this to 30 minutes to respect your time. Wesley, maybe just if you want to give us some closing comments, anything on Snapplify, and also maybe just a broader question. What happens after COVID? What happens? Are we going back to school? Just any of your thoughts on that?
I think that there's been some real fundamental change. In our space, the adoption has been incredible. On the first day of live access, we had 700 schools sign up. Some days we're doing 7,000 live chats. We're helping parents get books for their kids at 2:30 in the morning. Many of these parents and learners, this is their first time experience with digital education. I don't think that we're going to see a lot of what's been put in place now remain. I think we will go back somewhat to the status quo in some areas and some schools, but I think things have been demystified. Some teachers have been pushed out of their comfort zone, only to realize that it's not. What were they afraid of? And these barriers that I think largely are psychological have been removed. I mean, the realities of the markets we're in, connectivity, and the challenges that schools face, that technology are not going to solve. Nutrition, things like that are always going to be there. But I think some of these artificial barriers have been eroded, which I think is a huge change for the market. There's real human behavior changes. So I'm excited to see what it does for the sector.
Wesley, I think that has been, you've been absolutely amazing. I see lots of comments of people going, oh, is this available? If this is available. So if you are looking for stuff, if you can't find something, it sounds like Wesley's very happy for you to communicate with the team to put your request through so they can talk to the publishers. Wesley, I think it is absolutely incredible that you've managed to get so many of the publishers to get their content on. So for all of our viewers there, I have reposted just the support email as well as a link where you can go ask questions, and then check out the free resources on snapplify.com. And then just two quick plugs for the schools. This afternoon at 3:15, we have a webinar with the team from 3P. So we're going to be looking at mathletics, reading eggs, a couple of other things. So please view in for that. And then tomorrow at 11, we're actually doing one on kind of sanitizers and UV lights and desk dividers and stuff like that tomorrow at 11 o'clock for safety of your school when you go back to school. So please check that out. I'll share a link where you can view that. Wesley, thank you. It's been amazing. I'm amazed that Snapplify has gone way beyond a lot of other people and has made stuff available till the end of the year. I think you're going to cover a lot of schools. I really encourage all of our viewers out there, go check out their stuff, get access to it. What I'm going to do, Wesley, if it's all right, there are a couple of questions I couldn't get to. So if you have 5 minutes afterwards, would you mind just on the questions tab answering anything that I did not get to?
Yeah, I can do that. No worries.
Cool. Wesley, thank you once again. We really appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks very much. Keep well.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.